board.
Sorry, I posted 2 on accident. Like I guess my computer, when you press enter for something, it means that you're like submitting it.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't done anything yet. I just put in the discussion title, but I couldn't figure out how to delete it when I posted my next one. So sorry about that.
That's okay. I can tell which was the most recent. If they're duplicates, then I just grade them both and give the same grade. At least you can figure out how to upload things. That's half the problem. So I'm fine as long as I've got something to grade. All right, it looks like it's just you guys that have posted so far to week 4 discussion board. I'll go ahead. This week I'll start with Caroline because I can, and she can actually talk for herself. So I will open up her post on the screen.
So you might be able to get away with some smaller, more solid.
Caroline's having technical difficulties. We'll give her a minute. Can you hear me?
Are you having a good summer?
Okay, can you hear me? Everyone all right?
I can hear you.
Okay, so I had jaw surgery, so that's why Allison's been reading for me, and my mouth was wired shut, so now it's not, but there's still stuff in there, so that's why I sound this way. But I'm going to give this a whirl. Last week I spent a lot of time researching products, specifically something that could replace the Metaform portfolio system I used in the furniture plan I've decided to continue with. I also referred back to my research on employee happiness as I developed my 2 color schemes. I set up the format I will use my specifications, and I started looking at Herman Miller finishes as well as other textiles I could do a form for. I am on track for the most part with my phasing. Some days I feel ahead and other days I feel behind. This week I will continue working on my SketchUp model, need to finalize all furniture selections, and start addressing ceiling treatments.
All right. So let's go ahead. Do you have everything pulled up on your computer, or is it easier for me to do what you downloaded because it's on your laptop? Want me to just pull it up on the homework board?
I could do it from here.
Okay. I'll share your screen then. Change the presenter to Caroline. And I'll record all of my non-existent class.
So this is just an example of how I'm going to do my furniture specifications. You take one little part of the component of the typical that are downloaded, and then to specify the finishes, I'll put a little picture of each one, because here it's obviously not just one finish, I need multiple. So that's that. I started drawing my office in SketchUp. So there's not much here yet, it's just the shell. I don't really need to open that. And then my color schemes. So this was originally my slide for color and texture, so I toned it down to this, which I think Allison will be pleased with. And then these are my color schemes. So Allison, do you want to talk about those at all? I mean, do you want me to?
Yeah, you go ahead and talk about how you chose. It looks like it. I know the fabric inspiration obviously defined the one to the right, but what happened on the left?
On the left, I kind of had an idea of like where I wanted to go to the color schemes first. I wanted to do more dark woods with like lighter laminate tops, not necessarily like directly by the woods, but dark woods and then lighter finishes and kind of, I have these living columns and living walls, so I kind of want it to just be very green um, and airy. And then I like this color with olive green, so maybe a little pop on a cushion or a pillow or something. And most of these are all Herman Miller finishes hyperlinked, so if I decide to use them, I can just go back and find them out. And these are acoustical panels that you can arrange in all different types of patterns. And this image happened to really go with this color scheme, so I put it in there. And then this I had a textile that I liked, so I kind of drew from there. Um, and then with this, I would probably look for a pattern or two to go in with it if I choose to go with this color scheme.
Mm-hmm.
And this one feels, I imagined it with a little bit of light color wood and then more like silver and metal, kind of more industrial.
Mm-hmm. So what do you guys feel about this? Liz, what's your opinion? Which color scheme are you drawn to and why?
I am more drawn to the one on the left, so the number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's more texture involved. Like the kind of pinkish one, there's really nice texture in that, and then with the tiling and the wood, and I just feel like there's more of a variety, maybe.
Uh-huh.
But I really do like the other one as well. I just think that there's a warmer feeling towards the other one, the number
Mm-hmm.
1. So.
Okay.
What about you, Shemaine?
Well, color scheme 1, I kind of like that one. It's more of an earthy kind of feeling.
That's what I
And
felt.
in the, yeah, the acoustical tiles, I think that's kind of neat. Now, color scheme 2, if you were doing this down, like the southwest, I think that
Uh-huh.
would be great.
That's what's
Right.
interesting is people always say that about that pattern. We were going to use it for our remodel of our old office, and we got it down to that and a couple ones, and we called that the Southwestern pattern. That's what everyone said. Even though it's very geometric and it's not necessarily literally a
Yeah, when you see it on a piece of furniture, it looks more geometric than southwestern. I don't even know if I really like it that much, but I liked the colors in it.
Mm-hmm.
And really like I have a physical sample of this, and this is not super accurate
Mm-hmm.
to the colors that it has, but
Do we feel like color scheme 1, this is really typecasting the color pink, but does the color pink automatically make you feel like a scheme is feminine or no, because the neutral or more masculine tones of the other earth tones balance it out?
do you want me
I
to? Go ahead.
Go ahead,
well
anyone.
uh I think that I mean I know it's not pink, but kind of what's that called? I know you called it pink, but
Like a
magenta.
magenta.
Okay. I think it makes it a little more feminine, so maybe if you would go with maybe something a little darker, maybe like a darker shade of that.
Mm-hmm. Maybe more
Um,
plum.
Plum
yeah,
might be,
something.
Yeah,
plum's fairly gender neutral.
Yeah, I just think like I think that's pretty, and because I'm a girl, I think I'm drawn to it. Not saying girls are always drawn to that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that that makes it a little bit more feminine. So maybe if you darkened it a little, then it would make it a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more neutral.
Yeah. I thought about that too, and then when I was like looking at products, I think it was Steelcase, I was looking at one and they had some of their chairs and they had this color kind of cushion, and I thought it looked cool, and there's guys sitting on the chairs in the picture, so I said, hey, maybe it's okay. But these aren't, necessarily the actual materials I'll use, but I think I could make this work for masculine or feminine.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. There's just something about pink that always has that feeling to it. Fuchsia, is that what we're looking for? Magenta, kinda. Magenta, fuchsia. But Plum is good, and you have that pictured in the imagery of the plants to the right. So
Mhm.
somewhere, or maybe a merging of both. I don't know, you're right. You see pink all the time, so maybe if you don't use a ton of it, it would work. Or once you get a pattern in there that's a little bit more geometric, then it'll help with the femininity that's brought.
Right. Maybe I bring that pink in a pattern
Yeah.
fabric where it's just in it and it's not the dominant color necessarily.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see what you choose for your carpet too.
Mhm. I should probably look at that before I choose.
Oh yeah.
But there's like endless carpet options.
There are. Just depends on what you want to shine. You know, you could choose a really cool carpet and go less with the pattern on the furniture pieces, or you could choose really cool furniture pieces and have your carpet be gray or black or a merger of the two. But
White.
yeah, I'm sure in a contract space, white carpet would go.
Not black. It would show up every little lint piece and all that.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Very true. I don't know. I'd probably go with like a warm gray towards the darker side.
hmm Maybe gray brown or
Gray brown kind of.
okay. Well, it looks like you've done well. And then do you want to bring up your, can you bring up your SketchUp?
I can. It's not that cool though. That's not what
It's
I want.
okay. I mean, last week Matt just had a show, so I think it's cooler than you know for people who haven't learned that skill yet to see how it develops. But for you, it's not cool because it was just a show.
Right. And I'm not very good at it. Does that just make it not open? What did I do? There we go.
Sure. Dun, da, da, da.
How do I get those one things? It was view. We are already on the top, so I guess I'll just do this. So here's the space. These columns won't be like actually this green. They'll be living columns, and then there's these ones in the middle that I have to work with, so I thought I'd do the same to those. And then there'll be like lights at the top to make them grow. But yeah, and then I have, you can see that half of it's the windows and the other half isn't. The conference room and the copy room, closet, kitchenette, bathrooms.
Do you want to show them a picture of your nano wall?
Sure. Does anyone know what nano walls are off the top of your head? I feel like they're pretty common.
I've actually never heard of them.
I haven't either.
Well, they're basically just a bifold glass wall. So you can use them. So see, this is them closed, or open rather. Um, so they look like this or that, and you can just slide them open. So I was thinking if those were around my conference room, it would just make the space more flexible. If they were having like an office party, they could open them up and, you know, have more flow. And then it'll also let in a lot of light from the windows because there's no windows in the conference room. So they'll probably look like this. And when I go back to my color scheme, um, in this one, I figured I would do the nano walls with the brown trim, and then this one I would do it with like the metal trim that they show,
Mm-hmm.
aluminum or whatever it is, just depending on where to go with. But personally, I'm drawn to the warmer wood. I think that is a nice touch to an office space. It makes it feel more residential, cozier in my opinion, than like something with metal like this. Um, But yeah, they're super cool. Lots of things you can do with them, and they can go custom lengths, residential or commercial, and there's supposed to be, you know, some sound barrier to them as well as, you know, if they're heat, cold. For me, it's an interior application, so it doesn't matter as much, but I think they're really cool. Cool thing to remember for future projects.
Is there an option to put like, um,
Frosting.
There
yeah,
is.
yeah, just so that like I know with conference rooms, like maybe important meetings are going on in there, and so people don't necessarily want to look in.
I
Maybe
did
just
think of that, yes. I even thought maybe putting some kind of curtain that you could pull across all of them.
yeah.
That's what we
Um,
did for our local client. And then they say they're soundproof or they have good acoustical quality to them, but it's really not as much as you would think in reality once they're
right.
installed because of the cavity that is created when they fold. So
Uh-huh.
they make that almost transparent drapery that's acoustical. It's almost like chain link armor, but it's really, really tiny and thin. I don't know. I
Hmm.
think Carnegie makes it. We had
Can
to
you
use that.
see through it though then?
Yeah, yeah, it's a mesh, and it looks like a fabric from afar, but it's really this, it's kind of metal mixed with a fabric. I think silver ion is part of it too. So it has a lot of acoustical properties to it and cleanability properties to it, but it really helped dampen some of the noise that was added to the windows.
Yeah, that definitely help with this. And if you look, this wall here will be a real wall, and then the nano walls will just go here. And this column's in the way, so that could be awkward. And then I think the nano wall will continue this way, but this one will be fixed, so it would just like match. Um,
Also, if you don't want to have it be permanently frosted, a lot of clients will use people like Valley Screen locally who will do the vinyl graphics. I mean, you can't even tell that it's vinyl graphics, but it gives the changeability to it. So maybe they want it to be solid or they want to have it striped, but then if they're a marketing agency, they could switch it, you know, as they
mhm.
change out the fabrics in their building to match it, or if they decide they eventually want it clear for some reason, then you're not locked in having it be one way forever for a bunch of money.
Mhm.
I was at a mall one time and they had glass door dressing rooms, like the
Oh.
doors were glass, and then when you closed it, the I don't know, the employee would push a button and then it would frost so
Huh.
nobody could look in. That I mean, that's just an option if you wanted to look into that. I mean, I don't know what it's called. All I knew was I
That's
was freaked
crazy.
out when
Yeah.
I went. I was like, do you have a dressing room that actually has a door that you can't see through? And they were like, oh no, don't worry. I'll just push this button and then it'll frost. So,
That's fascinating. Have you
but it
ever
was
heard of that before,
I
Allison?
haven't heard of that. That would make me anxious that they're controlling that button and at any minute they could just push the button and
But that would be a good solution for my project if I could find
yeah,
that, find out
it'd
what
be a
that
really cool
was.
technology.
Yeah, I know
Mhm.
it was a mall in like Grand Rapids. If I don't know if that would help you at all to search to find like what they used, but
What
yeah,
specific store was it in though?
it was an Aeropostale.
Huh.
Really? I can't
Yeah.
imagine them spending that much money. I was expecting it to be something really fancy and expensive, but
Oh, I know. Yeah, I had never seen them before, and I was like amazed. It was something like it was like a double glass, so like the frost could go in between. I think like
so it
a
was digital, do you think? That it was actually an image that's being projected that looks like frosting as opposed
it
to
could be. Yeah, it could be. I don't know. It was, um, I mean, when you're inside, you can't see out and they can't see in.
Hmm.
It's really weird. I haven't been there in a while, but yeah, it was crazy.
hmm, very interesting.
That is.
All right, so let's see. Anything else? We touched on your selections on your nanowall, on how far you are with your SketchUp model.
My floor plan is pretty much done, other than I really need to choose what product I'm going to replace the Metaform portfolio with.
I'd show them 3-form. I don't think where they're at in the, well, who's on with us right now, where they're at in the journey of classes, that they've seen anything like 3-form necessarily, unless they've
You
gone
want me
to.
to show that?
Yeah.
Um, should I try to bring up my floor plan maybe to show what I'm talking about?
Sure. Show that 3-form as it stood.
Um, what the heck? This isn't going to open.
Why?
I don't know. It said it was opening as something really weird.
Oh, remember? I thought it was you who told me how to fix that, where you just save it first and then you do the open with and then choose. Yeah, because it's opening with e-drawings. If you actually download the file and then go to where it was in your downloads,
Mm.
or really you could just open AutoCAD and then open it. You know what I mean? Find it in your downloads from AutoCAD.
Oh, okay. So now I saved it.
Okay, then go to AutoCAD on your desktop. Should be the
Where is it?
Autodesk in the upper left-hand corner, that whole folder with Autodesk.
That's stupid. They're in a folder.
I know. And then the first one, AutoCAD 2016 English, not architecture. Did you already click on architecture?
Mm-mm. What's this?
I don't know. Okay.
Well, in the meantime, I'll talk about this freeform. Basically, they do all waiting for a location. What does this mean?
I don't know. Refresh it maybe?
You know, my AutoCAD wants to open.
Find downloads.
Where? I don't even.
I think it's under users.
There we go. Yay!
Here you go.
Okay.
Okay. Just close it.
What I'm talking about that I can't select is what I'm going to do here instead of this curved metaform portfolio. We talked about that last time, the foam thing that we took opinions on. So I was thinking about doing this freeform, which is a resin panel, and they have all kinds of different different patterns, pretty much endless options that you can use. But my concern with that is, like, does it have that many acoustical qualities, or is it that practical for what I'm doing? They're really cool, and I want to do something curved, and so there's just so many different ways to do it, and if my option would be the eco resin because it's easy to turn around, curve. But yeah, and they just have so many different prints. Allison, do you want to describe what you were talking about that I could do earlier with the acoustical panel as well?
Sure. So you can see in the first image there in the upper left-hand corner, there's a curved panel of resin, which would be a translucent, most likely material. Most of them are completely translucent. You don't see too many complete solids. Maybe to the metallic side, there's full sheets of metal. But I told her she took that resin and minimize this window and go back to your floor plan. If you can imagine, there's people who also make products that are acoustical panels in the same height as those resin sheets and in the same shape where it's that half circle. And if she just on one side of the resin panel on the inner curve ran the acoustical panel product inside of it. So I guess you have the mouse, Caroline. Yeah, if inside the curve there, she layered that acoustical product in front of it, but the material, the acrylic, will hang from the ceiling. Usually there'll be some type of stanchion or support. It would be a metal, why am I failing? Cable, sorry, cable system that would run through the T-bar of the acoustical tile ceiling, or if it's drywall, then it would just have different mounts that would mount into the drywall. And then that would be hanging and fixed, but then the acoustical panels would be movable partitions that could just nest within the curves of those. So then if she wanted to, she could rotate them out and around to act as a sound barrier. Maybe not as much for that one, but the one on the other side where there's more space behind it for a more private meeting. So that could be a cool way to use it, but then add acoustics. Of course, in any type of layout where it's so open without any of the interior walls, you'd almost always want to buy a sound masking system like we had where I used to work. Let's go ahead and I lost my go-to meeting. I'm going to
take the screen back?
Yeah. I'll take the screen back. So I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so here's Atlas Sound, and it's pretty much a speaker that would be put into an acoustical tile or up in the drywall. They would cut out a space for it, and it runs a white noise sound, kind of just a that is at the same level of what the human ear registers for spoken sound. And that way, as long as that little speaker is sitting above those main meeting areas, I couldn't hear you within about 4 feet radius outside of the circle of that speaker. So only within the speaker area can you hear each other, but then there'd be kind of this force field of white noise that would prevent you from hearing it outside of it. And you put those about every 100 feet, or it depends on how many feet, and you can turn up the radius or turn it down, so you can adjust the settings, or you can choose different sizes of those speakers and the locations for them. You don't have to have it everywhere in the building, but usually it does help if they're evenly dispersed every so many feet. I'd say 20 to 50 feet, depending on how high you're going to set it. And you can change the volume of the white noise as well. But it works so well that if you have that speaker above your workstation and then 2 stations in front of you, somebody's listening to the radio, and they suddenly turn the white noise off, you hear the radio, but then with it on, you just hear kind of a dull noise. You can hear something, so I wouldn't hear the words to the song, I'd just hear kind of an underlying beat to it. But it's a really unique system that's oftentimes used in open office settings. So I'd think about that, because then you don't have to be so concerned with everything and all of its acoustical properties. You'd want to focus that in on the conference area for sure. Any added acoustics are great, so if you still want to have that be part of the design, that's fine. Same thing if you want to bring the ceiling down there and have the acoustics not be controlled with the white noise, but possibly sound dampening clouds of some sort.
I was going to use those in some areas probably.
So there's lots of ways you can go about doing it. If you want to do something and you're just being prohibited because you're stuck trying to work with acoustic problems.
Right. Yeah, I really like this solution, and I mean, I've been to where you used to work, and it's not, I would have never known, it's not like you hear some humming, you know, when you're just standing there, which is kind of like the way you describe it, what I would imagine if I hadn't been in that space, but
Mm-hmm.
it's fascinating, because you can't, yeah, you can't hear, you wouldn't walk in and think, oh, there's some white noise going on.
I wonder if they
Um,
show it in the actual environment. It's really big with healthcare right now because hospitals are getting judged on how well you sleep at night or your personal experiences there, and
yes.
they have those leaving quizzes that they give.
Uh-huh.
And if they do poorly on that, that will take back some of their government funding. So they've put in millions of dollars into coming in and rewiring all of the ceilings with this sound dampening system in order to increase people's view of how their night stay was. So it's a big deal, but
That's interesting, because after my surgery, I was in the hospital for 2 nights and 3 days, and it was annoying. It was loud at night, and like the first night I remember there was this guy just talking and talking and talking, and the nurse came in, and I couldn't talk because I was wired shut, and I texted her on my phone, and I said, that guy's a little loud for 2 a.m., and then she made him be quiet. Yeah, she just gave me the smile like, oh, you can't talk, but you're, coherent enough to tell me what to do. But they did send me a survey and I did fill it out.
uh, well, that's why here, this is a good image. So this shows you how often they've placed it
Well, that's a great image.
along the areas and probably the different frequencies to which they have it turned up at. It's probably louder within the open office areas, and in here they just have a little bit because they have partition walls, but that's about as often as you'd place it on the ceiling, every 15 to 20 feet like that in a grid. And it's really easy if they have the ceiling tiles for them to come in, retrofit the buildings to do that. And it has one switching location in the wall. It's just a little tiny speaker, and it's very small. It can be as small as 4 inches in diameter, so you don't even really notice them when they're white in those white ceilings. I think you can get them custom painted, paint right over them. They can be primed. I'm trying to find it in a space, but really it just hides up there within the ceiling. All right. So I am going to go ahead and go back now to Blackboard for a minute. I'll look at Liz's comment. Look at you guys posting on each other's threads. Good work. Okay, so we did Caroline. I'll go ahead and go with Liz then second. Do this one, or does it matter really?
The 12:17 p.m. one.
Okay, let's see.
So I basically just made a PowerPoint.
Okay. Do-do-do. Right.
Okay. So, how do I control it if it's not on my screen?
I can, do you have it pulled up on your screen right now?
Yeah, just a second. Should I just start a slideshow, you think?
Once I give you the screen, although my GoToMeeting is stuck to the outside corner of my screen, then you'll be able to do it as a slideshow, yes, or a PDF, and just click through it. So I'll share the screen with you. I'll make you the presenter.
And then I say show my screen. Okay, so do you guys see mine?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my phase 2 was basically picking my first room that I wanted to redecorate for my fixer-upper house. And I basically made up dimensions that fit with the original tiling of, here, I'll go here. Okay, so here, this is the original main bathroom. I decided to go with the bathroom for today. So I counted basically the tiles on the floor. So I thought those were probably 1 by 1. And so I counted along the tile wall and came up with, so the wall that has the vanity and toilet is 7 feet, and then the back wall is 9. So I thought probably going, okay, so that's like probably 2 under the vanity, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I included probably about 3 for the shower and tub.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So, there, you guys see this side panel here?
No, we can't see your GoToMeeting panel.
Okay, so you just see the changes made.
Yes.
Okay. So, what I have completed so far is that I switched the locations of the new vanity and the toilet. So I completely gutted the vanity and the toilet, and I got new ones of those. And then since Allison, we talked about how you don't want to walk directly into the toilet. That's not very private for those who are using it. And then I picked a new tile that was that goes with the Craftsman, and kind of, it doesn't really go rustic, but there's not really a rustic type of porcelain. I mean, there is with coloring, but I just picked a gray porcelain tile. I painted the room with a light gray blue paint, and then I added shelving next to the shower and above the toilet. Oh, okay. All right, so here's just my inspiration. As you can see here, I wanted to go with a white vanity with the blue. I thought that was really pretty. And then I have, this is kind of my inspiration for shelving next to the shower and shelving above the toilet. So, oops. Okay, floor plan. This is kind of like a rough, okay, I did it in 1/4 scale. I kind of thought that that's probably what I should do. Is that?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, because it's super tiny.
Well, usually it's in a quarter for your planing, but all kitchen and bath would actually be in 1/2 inch for your represented plans. But when you're presenting it, so when you go to present it, I guess since we're breaking it out into different rooms, you could almost do every room at 1/2 inch just because it'll read better. Usually though it would just be the kitchen and bath that would be at 1/2 inch. If that
Okay,
makes
so
sense.
I'll probably have to go in and redo that. I didn't put much detail in it because I didn't think I should be. I mean, I knew we had talked about doing it in 1/4, but it didn't look right, so I was like, okay, I'm not going to put much detail into it in case I have to do it again.
Yeah, really it's because usually all of this would be within a formal plan, which would be at a 1/4 inch scale. And then outside of that, you would break out your kitchen and bathroom and do them in a bigger scale. So it'll just be, I'd go ahead and do everything at 1/2 inch. That won't bother me for what we're doing because you're going to present them as smaller individual rooms.
Okay. All right, so there's my floor plan. As you can see, you walk in, and then there's the actual vanity, and then the toilet on this side with shelving above. And then here's the window that was included in, here, let me go back to the original. Okay, there's this window here.
Mm-hmm.
I have that included in the floor plan, and then here's extra shelving, which it's not going to be like a cabinet, but it's going to be like built into the wall. And then the tub and shower. And then my elevation, again, done in 1/4, which I couldn't put much detail into it, but I'll go ahead and change that anyway. But so the vanity with extra storage and the shelving with, one thing I didn't, okay, I learned in intro is that like overhead lighting is kind of bad lighting because it's like shadowy and everything. So I didn't know whether I should have a light within like the fan on the ceiling, or if I should go with like I don't know. I didn't really know what to do, so I didn't add anything. I wanted your opinion.
Right now we don't know because we can't see the original plan how the shower is being vented, if there's a vent with a light combo, if there's a light in the center of the bathroom, but I would say you'd want a light and vent combo in your shower of some type because of how far away the shower is from everything else. On top of
Mhm.
that, you might want a central light, or you could kind of put it near the shower but not centered in it. Just depends on what you're looking to do. But you
Okay.
have to have some type of vent. You're okay with having a window, technically. A window can act as a vent, but people would prefer not to, and it gets really awful if you don't
Right.
also vent it somehow. I
Okay.
would expect that you would add some type of vanity lighting. As you said, you
Okay.
don't want overhead lighting that's directly over, more like a can light. It's okay to have a bar vanity lighting. That's fine.
Okay.
Or possibly sconces if you can find some that go well. And actually for Craftsman style, it might not read as bad as some of the sconces do. When you use them, they feel a little dated, but given your style, I think you could
Mhm.
find some nice Craftsman sconces if you wanted to use them.
Okay.
But you should have multiple areas of lighting. So I would
Okay.
expect that that would be enough if you have a vanity light, and then have one near or one in the shower with a vent, and then possibly central lighting.
Okay.
It's more about
Would
having
you-
multiple tiers of lighting than it is completely avoiding overhead lighting. It's when you only have that overhead can, then it washes down on your face. But if you're lighting it from the front too, you could have both in the same space.
Okay, so would you think like above the mirror lighting, like sconces right here, or you think like along the side?
If you did it along the side, I would make the mirror smaller, obviously, and
Right.
then you could do
Mhm.
one on each side, or you could just do one bar vanity lighting over the top of the mirror.
Okay.
How high are you thinking you're estimating your ceilings? 8 foot or
I did 8 foot just because I thought that was pretty
standard?
standard. Yeah.
I'd
Um,
assume it's right in there.
yeah, because it didn't look like, okay, in the original, it didn't look like the window was very tall. I mean, I thought maybe 3 feet.
hmm
Would you think so? And then 2 feet underneath it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's 5, and I wouldn't think there would be any more than 3 feet above the window.
No, I think that's a good estimation. It looks like, looking at your image there, you'd have some demo to fill in the wall there. There's almost a recessed hole above the sink. They cut a vanity. It probably used to be a cabinet of some type. See how it recesses back
Where, okay,
Ab-
here?
above the sink, where you'd picture a mirror to go? Do you see that big rectangular
Oh,
hole?
yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, I had just assumed that that was a mirror and that was the reflection.
I don't think so. What do you think, anybody? Doesn't it look like it has some depth to it? I think
I think it probably is some kind of cutout.
Okay.
But it's so high above the vanity.
it is.
They
It's
do that
weird.
in old homes.
It is really strange because there's no doors on it, and you can't really tell because I know you screenshotted the room, so we have that 12 of 17, but it looks like there's something above it, either a bar or I don't know. There's something running above that cutout as well.
Yeah, I didn't know how to get that 12 of 17. I tried everything to make sure that it wasn't on there, but of
It's
course it
okay.
always so but okay, I just assumed that that was like a mirror, but I guess you're right. It does look like it has like dimension to it. So,
Yeah, I talk about filling that in and, replacing it or fixing the drywall. And then how realistic or thinking about storage and how people use storage, we all love shelves. Is a shelf better than more enclosed storage? Do you have any logic behind that selection? You have two
yeah.
sets of open shelving, so you're adding open shelving near the shower, which I could see for towels or
Mhm.
lots of other things. We don't know much about the storage out in the hallway, so there could be places to put toilet paper or extra things you don't want to store under the vanity. But I
Yeah.
know I have a lot of stuff, and if I had to add storage, I wouldn't add shelves necessarily above my toilet. I might add a cabinet. But that's not, if that's not the look you're going for, then you might want to talk about why you made that selection. I want you to think about your selections and think about all the other options that you had to make, right? So you could have gone with a complete enclosed cabinet, or you could have gone with shelving, but you went with shelving. Why? Does that go towards the craftsman style?
Okay.
So just make
Okay.
sure they're all really intentional selections, because there's not very many spaces that I'm asking for. So like that looks very craftsman, that cut-in shelving and how it has a ladder effect to it. Does the open shelving, is that still within that concept, or how traditional craftsman are you going? Is it a contemporary spin on it? You know, give me all the information that you can about those selections and really validate them.
Okay. So when you say a cabinet above the toilet, are you thinking like a, obviously not a medicine cabinet, but kind of along those lines, like a...
Yeah. Have you not seen very many of this? I had that in 2 of my last homes. They were old homes too, but they do. You know, sometimes you'll see them as freestanding pieces of furniture, or sometimes it will be built into the wall, but it's only about 12 inches deep, if that, maybe 9 inches deep, and then it just acts as secondary storage for smaller things like toiletries and soaps or sprays and things like that. So I just researched the style a little bit more, and that's the contrast. I know we're in the initial phases, and hey, it could be on the next slide and we haven't gotten there, but when you get into the process of all these selections, then have inspiration photos and maybe history that goes behind them. You know, here's how bathrooms in this style have developed and other examples of them, and here's how I incorporated it into the home.
Okay. Gotcha.
So if it doesn't go, it might not go. You know what I mean? You might not have to do that if you can really say why you chose that to go with the look that you were trying to get.
Yeah. Does it have to be like, because I was kind of thinking like with the open shelving above the toilet, it kind of went with the open shelving next to the shower. Do they not have to be like connected? Or
No.
like, I mean, I just thought that that would be kind of like a general theme, so I just didn't know like...
Yeah, and if that's it, and then you just write that in, you say this is the cutout goes with the craftsman theme, and then I mimicked that pattern and design style above the toilet and carried it throughout the space. So it's going to be all about how you're selling it to me on why you made those decisions.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
But
and
I
then,
want to see,
what?
once you get into your selections, just tons and tons of detail. You know, why did I want to see all the accessories that you're going to put into this? Why did you choose each of those, the towels? Why did you choose the shower curtain? You know, anything, handles.
Okay, I do have my products used. I have like my paint sample that I'm planning on, and then the flooring, all the fixtures. I didn't go into accessories yet because that's in, I think, my phase 4 of picking multiple accessories and like staging the house. So, but yeah, I picked basically the basics and putting them in the ones that I've chosen that I did draw. So.
Okay. Yeah, it looks good. Let me ask you this. So when you're getting images off of the internet, do you usually go into Google Photos and screenshot, or do you keep clicking and then find it from the source and click on the image and open up the larger image?
I go to Google Shop and then go with the style that I'm going with, and then click on the store that is selling whichever one that I've chosen, and then go and look in their products. And so I use Google Shop as kind of like my my general chosen item, and see the specifics under that store that's selling it. Which I have all of the information. I just didn't want to include it because I have, just because it would be a lot of text to have to include with it. So I will in my overall presentation, but yeah, so.
Okay. Well, I'm only asking because some of the images seem a little bit lower resolution, And I don't know if that's because of how it's turning out after you put it into a PDF, but I would just caution you, if you can, get images that are higher quality or click on them further so they give you that expanded image, and then when you save it, it'll look a little bit better in the presentation.
Okay.
All right. But yeah, good work so far. Is there more?
That is my last slide. Yep.
Okay. So
So
yeah,
is there a way, do I give you back the screen or do you take that? Are you able to take it?
I can take it back.
Okay.
So did you plan on using that PowerPoint presentation for your eventual final presentation? Is that the layout and background that you're looking to use as we go forward, or is it just temporary as you're showing each of your homework assignments?
I hadn't really, I mean, choosing a theme is pretty easy and changing it is pretty easy. I hadn't thought too much about the final, but this is basically the start. I'll probably, obviously I'll edit each slide once I get into more detail, but this was basically just for this homework.
Okay. All right.
Is it good, bad?
I don't think it's
Good.
bad necessarily. I know that there's a lot of good templates that PowerPoint offers you, and there's some that I see more than others. You know, I see the bamboo one all the time.
Which
But
one's bamboo? Is it this one, the bamboo?
yeah, I'll see that one, or there's another one that it's kind of an organic palette. But I'd say the templates are good as a starting off. If you can customize them to be your own, that would be more positive, or at least have, when you can right click on each of the slides and then choose the layout how you were saying, and you can customize it a little bit more, make sure that there's a variety in the layouts that you use
Okay.
within the theme. So right now you have the two styles, and it looks like all the first slide is different from the next one, but from there on they all have that similar layout to them. I'd probably change it because I feel like that upper bar takes up good real estate on your slide, and
Okay.
fit more information and have the overall title, or just a graphic, and then have that be text within the actual slide instead of being such a big portion of it.
Okay.
But I don't mind the colors. I think the colors go with the colors that you've chosen so far, at least a blue-gray. So I like that they're fairly neutral, and then you have a warm brown. So I think the colors go fine with your theme, and it doesn't bother me at all. I just make it a little bit more of your own.
Okay. I'll do that.
So you switch locations, put in the porcelain tile, painted the room, added shelving next to the shower. So let's think. So you're giving me the floor plan. I would say that for your weeks, and I know your phasing had reflected what you're showing to me now, but looking at it now, so you're going to change it to be a bigger size, to be the half inch scale, and then and these were kind of conceptual, and I wouldn't, toss them out at all. I would maybe use them within your presentation. Say I started these initial design concepts, and then I added detail and show your drawing process, so that you haven't wasted your time, and they're just good. All drawings are good drawings. So if you keep those, and then you do some nicer ones with more of the details once you've kind of finalized your selections. But I would start, I guess my main points are, I would focus on getting that presentation layout now, so then you're not going back and copying and pasting anything. So I think we said you're fine with this, just maybe change a layout and then copy and paste it to it. So there's just less that you're going back and manipulating later. If you can start now and get it out of the way. And then I also think, with how much you got done this week, I have a feeling you could have done 2 rooms if you wanted to. Not saying you had to stay on track, but you could get far ahead and then have more time. I think this site plan and exterior elevation, you'll want more time on that than you may have given yourself in your original phasing. So if you can combine 2 weeks or 2 rooms for next week and get a little bit ahead, so you have more time to color and draw the rest of the project.
Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, it's a good start. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I think, did I already take it back? Nope, I'll take it back and go back to Blackboard. Shemaine, did you have time? I know you hadn't posted it yet. Have you posted to the discussion board now that we've been waiting? Oh, yep, there you are. Phase 2. Click on it. And I'm going to go ahead and give you the screen, if that's okay.
Oh, I have to open those up. Hang on a second. Let me open that in Office.
No problem.
Okay, for this week I did the design and do the preliminary designs for the community building in one house.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the community building. I don't have everything labeled, but north is facing up,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a 1/4 inch scale. And the community building is for a pocket neighborhood. It's kind of like the face of the neighborhood. That way it gives privacy kind of to the homes that will be south of the building. And with our winters, I figured the community building will help block some of the northern wind, cold wind from coming down into the common greens that will be down here. And it has the front door is kind of like a foyer. This would be a locked door and have like post office boxes here for the different houses.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 little storage spaces on each side. And this would be like a main room, if you wanted to have tables, or if they're meeting, or say one person has family over and they need extra space. And this would be like a small kitchen, and of course a couple of bathrooms. And over here I thought I would put, maybe a few pieces of furniture, kind of like a reading room, wintertime, or it's raining and someone wants out of the house, they can come over here, and it might draw other people in. They can relax in kind of like a living room area. And this would be like a full storage, kind of like a garage. I put in a small garage door for if they had a tractor.
Mm-hmm.
And so this would be, there's even space if someone is like a woodworker and they want to have woodworking too. And that's pretty much what I come up with so far for
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah, it's a really nice symmetrical layout. I like that there's a central flow all the way through the front to the other side of the building, and that you
I
have,
tried to keep it also for, it would be wheelchair accessible.
yeah, yeah, I was thinking that as I was looking at it actually, and I like the adding the garage door so then you have that access for all of the different gardening things that they also have within the community. But it's a pretty good use of space. You have a nice U-shaped kitchen, which is one of the better decisions you could have made for a kitchen.
Like, and then out here I thought maybe a small patio,
Mm-hmm.
some small tables, umbrellas. And yeah, this would kind of block, the northern wind from coming in.
I really like the attention to the detail of the wind and the placement of the building. That's really smart. It looks like it's actually a pretty good sized building overall. not too
And
big.
yes, I did take a picture. I didn't have time to go get it.
Shame on you. It's one of the better pictures I've seen, though. At least I can still read your measurements. So I know one says 12 by 12, 12 by 2 by 16 by 6. So I can read it fairly well, but that's because you have good lettering and good drafting skills. Well, this is good progress. So if you have, what about, didn't you say you have a house as well layout?
Yeah.
Oh,
I got
wow. And look, you
this one
even
at
had
the end.
time to shade in all the walls and everything, so you've made extensive
Well, yeah,
progress.
I did that like at the last minute. So
Oh, it looks
okay,
good.
so north will be this way,
Mm-hmm.
and now the northern side of the house, the windows, they will be above line of sight. So this is the closed side of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And for the pocket houses, they call it nesting. One side is the closed side, and the other side would be more open. It's like the bathroom window, that'll be a frosted window. So this would actually be called the closed side.
Hmm.
But to take advantage of daylighting, you add in the windows, the awning windows, and
Mm-hmm.
you have them above line of sight, so more towards the ceiling. And that way you can open them and get air in, but you also have daylighting, so you don't lose the light as much.
Interesting. So
And
it's,
then on this side, of course, you know, it would be bigger windows, see. And I shouldn't have shaded that one in. That's a part of the porch. But this part here would face towards the common green, and then it'd be like a sidewalk, and then there's layering of like a short fence and some plants.
mm-hmm.
So you're going from a public to kind of like a semi-private, and inside you get to private. But with looking at Ross Chapin's house plans, and I'm thinking, okay, we're in the winter area and it's very cold. So I made a summer porch and a winter porch. Because he stressed the porches as, you know, your friend or the neighbors would stop in and they could sit on the porch. So this porch would be all open, and it would catch some of the southern or southwestern kind of breeze. Whereas this one would be like a winter porch that would be enclosed and still have windows. You want to see it now. And then you come in here, and this is the living room area, and kind of like a little foyer type closet. And I left a space here for TV on the wall. I did not put in like a wood stove or fireplace, for the simple fact is they can get a small area can get pretty hot when you have those cooking.
Mm-hmm.
So I left that out. And then over here I have a kitchen kind of dining area, and it would be all open. So it's an open floor plan. And we have a refrigerator, cooktop, sink, oven, and like a bar area to see. I kind of like the kitchen. That's me.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept it's a 4-foot hallway so that you don't feel all enclosed when you come down the hallway. We put the master bedroom back here, and these would face towards a more private, small backyard. So they would be like a regular sized window, and these would be the high window. And I added in like a small space. It could be a bedroom, or it could be, you know, like an office or study.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a bonus space. And here I put in kind of like a small pantry. So it would be like a floor-to-ceiling pantry, just for some extra space in there.
Mm-hmm.
And in the bathroom, I put in an open shower. This is the glass block right here.
Mm-hmm.
And just to keep, the light in. And it's just a pretty simple bathroom. Put the washer and dryer right here. I thought about putting like louvered doors here, just to enclose it to them. And now back door, and then this would go downstairs.
Okay. So give me a second. I'm just thinking through something on paper for a minute.
Okay.
So, okay, well, my first question is, can you tell me a little bit about the kitchen? So I see where the sink is. Where's your refrigerator in that layout? Is the far right?
Yeah, right here.
Where is your oven?
It's a double oven right here.
All right, so I want you to think about your work triangle a little bit. And
yeah, it's more like the galley kitchen kind of.
well, we all know that we don't like the galley kitchen necessarily.
Yeah.
So I would be really reluctant to have you do that, and just since you're saying it's one of the things you like most is cooking, right? And then especially
Yes.
in such a heavy community oriented housing development, and then you have a nice bar seating area, so you're planning on them using that kitchen a lot. No one is going to want to walk from that refrigerator over to the oven, back to the sink. It's just too spread out right now. So you might want to relocate one of those items or rework it a little bit. It's just too wide. It's not practical. So
Okay.
I'd like to see you kind of rework that space a little bit. Even if you're going to keep the galley, that oven's pretty far away from everything else. It's close to one thing, or each thing is a little bit closer to the other, but not to create your triangle. So try and rework through your triangle for me. And then another thing I was thinking is, let's see. You come in off the porch, there you have kind of we'll call it a mud area, or that's a coat closet up there at the front, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think if there was a way that if we move your refrigerator, is it pretty common to have those windows looking in when you come up the stairs on the porch, to have windows that look in through the house? No, down a
Right
little bit?
here. All these?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so
I was just adding more daylight.
I like the idea of adding more daylight, but if we have to change something without changing everything, what if we move the open door into the living room all the way up towards the top, the north wall? Or maybe I'll take a screenshot of yours and take the screen back, because it might be easier for me to draw on the screen. Okay. Show my screen. All right. Stick with me. I'm going to switch to a blue pen. So if I take this wall, and I haven't thought through this 100%, but we'll see how it works out. I close this off. Oh, look at that beautiful shape that it made. This is now a whole wall. This is the new entry, right, to get into the space. And then I have my coat closet that comes off here, creating some type of 24-inch deep space. But then I could relocate my refrigerator or whatever, stove, ovens here, because it'll be the same depth as that closet, and then create more of an L shape off this corner, and then do something with a bar area and even have a pantry here, because you're almost creating a bigger U, but you could have your triangle in this area. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if that will really work out because right now I'm conceptualizing on the screen, but that's a possibility. And then that way you also don't have as big of a space in here off the entry, that once you get furniture in this space, if you put a television on this wall and you create some type of furniture layout, which is going to be interesting because there's already a rectangle, but say we just have a chair here, and a sofa here, or if you're going to have a long sofa and a chair on each side and a table behind it, but you're really going to be in this area. So if you had your door in here, you're going to have quite a bit of space on the entry. You know what I mean? When you walk in, that's empty because you've created this area for furniture. So this way it kind of redirects the walking path, and it's not just opening up into the middle, which then gets rid of this closet off the wall, which this isn't an awful layout. I think they're kind of equal, but just used in a different way. So that way all of this is on one wall, creating a continuous line. And then you have a flow that goes in and around or in and down. I don't know, give it a try and let me see what you come up with. You might come up with a better flow once you decide to relocate this triangle and get things closer where you have more space. I don't know. This is okay here. I wondered, who are you targeting? Aren't you targeting an older community? Is that right?
Yeah, just, maybe empty nesters or
Okay. Okay.
retirees.
So thinking about that I'm not as concerned with the idea of the bathroom and having the open shower. And that makes a lot more sense for the people that you're targeting to have that for empty nesters, because it could be a lot safer to have it be a walk-in shower like that and easily accessible. And then I just don't know how I feel about the pantry being here outside of the kitchen as opposed to worked into the kitchen somehow. So maybe I'm just thinking if we can create more use on this wall, you can bring that pantry into the space.
And maybe even leave that closet because, like, for the broom, the
Yeah,
vacuum,
for other.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
You need the storage for sure. I was just thinking I'd love to have my pantry in my kitchen, and we need to rework it anyway. So yeah, as Caroline said, if we could use this for storage for anything else, or even towels for the bathroom or whatever is not going to fit in this bathroom with just having a vanity. What about this space here though? You know, would you have shelves or something? Because it seems like, I wonder what, I need a scale is what I need. So I could kind of play with your plan a little bit to see how many feet this is. But if you have at least 4 to 5 feet here, then maybe this could be something to balance out this big hole so it's not such a funky dip in the wall.
Okay.
I don't want to get too far into the rules of kitchen and bath, but so yeah, let's try and rework this area a little bit, but I like the thought that went into the windows and that you're following the concept of having an open and closed side. I think that's interesting information that we wouldn't have known otherwise. Their laundry being towards this back entry is fine, and the stairs you've consolidated storage and kind of back of house items all together, which is nice. And the idea of having 2 porches, one for when we have the colder climate weather within this community, would be, I think, very much important to your design concept. So I like this whole idea. I thought it was such an extensive kitchen, but then after thinking about it more, it just wouldn't be as useful to have your triangle so spread out. So other than that, I think it's good. I like the idea of the bonus office space or whatever they want to use it for possible. You could put, you know, a fold-out sofa in there or anything that you'd want to put, but it looks great.
Okay, good start then.
Yeah, good start. Yeah, I was surprised that. I feel bad hand drafting and coloring in wrong walls. I can't tell you how many times I've done that, but
Yeah, that's a wrong one. It should be open.
that's okay.
I went nuts with the markers.
Yeah, you wish you just had a marker eraser. But
Yeah. or redo button.
Yeah, the back button. All right, so let's see. That's it then? We've reviewed the house and the community building. Didn't have any more research or anything that you wanted to share?
Not. I worked on those two things. I
Okay.
still have to finalize what I want to do with the site plan.
Okay. Does anyone else have something about the space planning that does this bother anyone?
That could, I mean, if you have the space in that room, especially for like an older couple, I mean, not necessarily older, I don't know, but a water closet would be nice. I feel like they
Yeah, I thought about
might be
that.
accustomed to that if they say we're living in a bigger home, looking to downsize. I mean, I know my parents, they're 60 and they're about to be empty nesters, and they would definitely want a water closet if they had like only one bathroom in the house.
Yeah, I had thought about that. But as far as finding the space and including everything else,
Do you know how wide that hallway is?
it's 4 foot.
Is Allison, could she go down to 3 feet or 3'6"?
3-6.
Well, Kathy got after me when I did 3.6 on the
Ah,
last project, so I figured I'll stick with 4.
all right. Well, I've seen it done, but yeah, if you want to stick with 4, I don't think it's gonna afford her enough to completely build it
Mm-mm.
in. But I would say, wouldn't you think swapping the vanity with the toilet if possible, so that you're not
That,
walking
yeah,
right
it
in
would
on the
probably work.
person?
Yeah, that would probably work better.
You do want to have a good workflow or a good space behind because you'd be standing there and doing things. But I think if you have to make the choice, I might swap the two out.
And that's probably too small to put any kind of double sinks too.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's one part of they've been doing larger homes in the pocket neighborhood, but the point for Ross Chapin is as far as doing the smaller homes, it gets people outside.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you might want to think about a corner shower. I don't know if that would afford you anything to try that, but sometimes that's a space saver to do that. Um, let's see. Vanity shower, centering the door, would that help us any? If we center the door and then put the toilet on one side and then we'd have the vanity in the middle. That might be a solution, you know?
What by centering the door though, if I leave the shower, will the door interfere with the door to the shower?
Let's see. I've got a lot going. No! I have to take your screen back. I lost it. I don't know. Because it disappeared. But especially for how deep your room is, I don't know, because then, yeah, your door would be swinging in. If it's centered more towards the shower and it swings in, but towards the toilet, it would be annoying until the door is closed and then you could use the toilet. But I guess you'd just have to
I'll
weigh,
just play around with
yeah,
it a
play
bit.
around with it and then weigh the benefits of it. You know, is it more beneficial to not see the toilet and have the vanity be the focal point as you walk in? I don't think it'll interfere with the shower necessarily. It'll block off the toilet until you close the door. But
Yeah.
I just explore different layouts, and it's as simple as what I just did on Google to search small layouts. But I know you have a lot of layouts within that Pocket Neighborhoods book to
Oh, yeah, there is a
compare.
lot.
So I
Some
just,
of it's kind of strange, but
hey, maybe strange is good. At least you have a physical example, so if it's way out in left field, you can say it's in my Pocket Neighborhood book, and then we're not
yeah,
going to question you as much. But
yeah. Well, he has a lot of his plans where you're coming in the main door straight into a dining room.
Oh.
And I kind of didn't like that. Like with the, living in the cold area
Mhm.
in the wintertime, you kind of want a little bit of a break to keep that cold air from coming.
Mhm. Well, I just think through it a little bit more, but I think overall you had a good brunt of the work done. All right, well, it looks like the rest of our attendees aren't joining us for the day. I'm glad that you guys chose to attend. Right now, if the homework isn't turned in at the beginning of class when it's expected, then I'm usually taking about a 2-point deduction to the homework assignment, which off of 10 can be pretty steep if you don't get it in until the following week. So go ahead and continue to post on each other's if you haven't already. It looks like most of you have, but after the session, make sure you do that so you can get those points. Going ahead, we're just adding on. We're doing phase 3, right? So we'll be checking your progress. If you have any questions throughout the week, I'll be here on Thursday from 8:30 to 3:30. And you can always text me or email me outside of those hours and I should respond. So I will let you guys go for the week. Any questions? Nope. Okay.